member. What a PMC member is, that we are going to discuss further. Other than that, I work with Apache local community Indore as a chapter lead, and you can connect me on LinkedIn and Twitter. So before starting this thing, as we are from the Java background, I would like to share something really interesting with you all. Okay, when I was preparing in the morning, I just got recalled with this thing that in the last Apache Con, Mr. James Gosling was part of the event, and just to get you know that he is still involved with open source projects, and he's is involved with the Apache NetBeans community, and he gave a talk on his open source journey in the last Apache Con. So, okay, so okay, for me, when I talk about the Java world, he is like a god, and with God himself being a guide in any of the project, I think that would be a really, really amazing experience for the NetBeans community. So this is the power of open source world. Like this kind of exposure we get when we are into the open source world. So and in last Apache Con, one of my manager went to that for a talk, and he's also a ASIF member. So he got the chance to meet James Gosling. So uh, this kind of even opportunities we get when we are involved with open source. So this was something really cool for me. So I wanted to share that thing with the start of the presentation. So when I talk about Apache local community, just like the Bangalore Jug or Google Developer Group, Facebook Developer Circle, this is another local group of Apache or open source enthusiasts. Uh, Sometimes back we felt that in Apache Software Foundation, people are from India, but it's difficult to connect with them. And also in India, I think that much of awareness is lacking regarding the open source world. Like for example, we felt that when we got to know about the open source world and we contributed it and we got benefited, we loved this world. We felt that this thing needs to be propagated to the students that are in college, schools, or in other professional world, so that they also get to know the benefits of it. They also get these things into their uh, day-to-day life. And I'm proud to share you that we were the one to initiate it, and the ALC Indore was the first ALC being set up in Apache Software Foundation. I think it's been a year that we initiated it on to ASF. They accepted it. There were lots of discussion being done on it, and now ASF is more of a really optimist about how things are going with the LC, because this is something through which they can go to a more diverse geographical community. So this was all of about ALC. We have 4 LCs set up as of now. Other than Indore, we have Beijing, Warsaw, and Budapest. So this was all about ALC. Now let's get started. What we are going to talk in this session. So first of all, I'm going to tell you what open source software is, about a quick glimpse to its history, how one can make a contribution, what benefits he or she has, and where he can start things off, and what are the opportunities that comes up with the open source. Further, we are going to talk about the Apache Software Foundation, its history, how a project in the Apache world works, what the Apache way is, and the Apache Incubator, and where to start off in the Apache world. So first of all, when I talk about the open source software, any piece of software that comes with the source code that allows the user to inspect it, modify it, and enhance it can be turned as an open source software. Now there are numerous projects available out there that open source uh, their source code to the users on GitHub or GitLab or any other platform like that. But it's the license that identify whether that particular project is open source or not. Now if you go to opensource.org, you can find the various licenses that gives you free this flexibility or freedom, and only those licenses are the flexible ones. Otherwise there may be some software available on these platforms that are not comes with that much of freedom or of using that to a commercial purpose or something like that. So this was something need to take into account when you are looking for any of the open source software. Now, when we talk about the history, it was started by Mr. Richard Stallman as a GNU project, and it was further expanded to a non-profit organization as the Free Software Foundation. And the idea was that he felt that when from the childhood itself uh, we are with the idea that whatever we have, we should share it with our own our people and the loved ones. So why not with the software? So driven by this idea, he started this project. Why should you know about open source, whether you are a technical person or not? What impact it can make? So first of all, the open source, if we consider the current scenario, it's trending. Means that whichever field you go, you find a, a project being from the open source, but that is making a huge impact out there. Like for example, if I talk about the front end technologies, React, all these technologies are the open source ones. If I talk about the fields like big data, you may find Apache Spark, then Hadoop, similar other projects that are from the open source world. So these technologies are all around us. The operating system we use in our mobile, Android, uh, the services that we use from the Apache Cloud Stack. So similarly, the open source softwares are all around us, and this gave birth to one of the term called COS, commercial open source softwares. So there are companies out there who build the they build a software and they open source it, and they build they do customization or advancements to that software and sell that software as a commercial software. So this has become another kind of business model for such organizations. Other than that, it caters lots of benefits like security. All the source code is open out there, so someone may identify a bug and it gets fixed up really faster because we have such a diverse community out there working towards it. uh, Training, as you have the source code available out there, you can download it, you can learn from it a lot, because these softwares available out there are quite mature softwares. So for a student, it gives a really good exposure where you can see how a really scalable software is built up, or how the design patterns are being implemented out there. You have the control. Like if you want some feature into it, you can go there, you can create a Jira, and if you know how to do it, you can make a change to it. Other than that, you can download it, download the source code, you can customize it for yourself, so you have the full control of it. Stability, as the communities are working towards it continuously, you get more and more stable releases with time, issues being fixed, and there are some processes being followed out there that makes it a more stable system delivered to an end user. Okay, so why you should contribute? First of all, to improve the software you rely on. Like there are many organizations that rely on open source software. There are people who rely on open source software. So if you have that skill to improve it, I think you should definitely go there and contribute towards it. Um, Contribution does not have any kind of boundaries or any kind of criteria. Like it can be a simple Jira ticket also that counts as a contribution. It improves existing skills. uh, if you are working on any software, like my in my organization we work on Apache Obis. So if I am a contributor to Apache Orbis. I get to know lots of its different aspects and the details of its implementation, and what things are going to come up in future, what things are going on in the community, and lots of things to learn that makes me more skilled in towards Apache Orbis. It automatically increases the trust of my organization towards me if I am in role of a committer or PMC, or I am making a contribution to it. So getting into working on any software, it enhances your skills. Other than that, some of the things that I noticed was like when I contributed to it and I started being an active member of the various lists, the issues that other people face, we are aware like what should be the right fix for that, what are the practices needs not to be followed, what are the things we should follow. So these things are also something that we got to learn. Like we can learn from others' experience also. Then we get to meet people who are interested in the similar things. People who, and this is really interesting because there are lots of veteran developers working out there, contributing to the open source, and it's a great thing to meet them, learn from them. Find mentors and teach others. So when you are in open source world, people welcome you wholeheartedly. Like if you do a simple contribution, even that maybe a label you change, people appreciate you because you are doing things to improve that software without any kind of uh, uh, you're doing it voluntarily. So people out there appreciate you. They guide you. If you give some artifact out there, there are numerous developers out there who are really experienced, and they come out there, they review your code, they guide you what are the right ways, what practices you should follow, such that. And once you get experience, you become you take that mentorship part, and you get a chance to teach others who comes to the open source world. Then you build public artifacts. Like if I will show you how I can find whatever contribution I did. So whatever you're doing, it's all open source. You can share the links to the people that I did something like this, and it's all open source there. So you're building uh, a kind of reputation of yourself with the artifacts available publicly for you. Uh, then learn people skills. Okay, now this is really important. When we got involved in with any of the project, we are working remotely. So there are mailing lists, there are chat groups, there are forums where we get to interact with the people. So through these mediums, we get to know how to talk with people, and that is really a crucial part of one's career, that one can express the thoughts that one want to express through to written capabilities. So this is really something that can help one with his career prospect. So people skills that are crucial. Now it's empowering to be able to make a change. uh, just imagine how cool it would be, like if you use intelligence. You, if you are in a college or you are working in a company, you use intelligent, you are able to make a change to it, you can contribute to it, you have uh, worked on any of the feature. How proud moment it would be for you to tell someone that this is something contributed my way. So it's always empowering. And finally, it's a bliss giving back to the community from which you are getting something, and from on which your career is. And other than that, one thing that I feel is it's the freedom that you get to work on what you want to do. Like for example, I wanted to work on JavaScript. So when I get into open source world, I chose what kind of contribution I did wanted to do. Then I had an interest in blogging. So there were Apache Obvious blogs, so I got involved with that. I was interested with the social media thing, so I got involved with that. So you have the freedom to do what you love to do with with the world, and you will get appreciated with whatever you do. Some of the blockers that people have, like I also have when I was a college in college, and even when I joined my organization, uh, I felt like am I ready for making a contribution? So you are always ready for it. It's not about what contribution you are making, but it's about what value it brings to the project. And even your slightest small contribution can make a huge impact. Like even you are changing a label also, that is also making an impact. You are uh, improving the documentation, that also makes an impact. You are just guiding someone, that also makes an impact. So even you, if you are a beginner, you are a college student, what you can do is you can just go through the documentation, and even not with the code, even you can, if you find some flaws in the documentation somewhere, or uh, you can just help people out with something. So even that is counted as a contribution. So you're always ready for it. Second, I don't know what I can contribute. So there are numerous ways you can contribute that we are going to discuss further. And uh, okay, open source projects is it's like an organized company itself. Like people, a company has a sales team, marketing, uh, documentation team, QA, everything. So similarly, an open source project is like that. So you have a scope of contributing one way or another. Not sure where to start, so you can just Google it out. You get, nowadays we have lots of uh, resources available out there, where you get to know, uh, people have created utilities where you get to know the uh, uh, first the first timer issues, or there are labels available, there are blogs being there. So you will definitely get something out there. I'm not a technical person, so then also you can contribute. uh, for this thing I will discuss in detail. uh, okay, then I don't get paid for it. Most of the people think like think it in a monetary aspect, but it's more like when you contribute towards it, you are building a trust in your trust for you in your organization. You are building something that will build a reputation of you. You get to connect with lots of people out there. So if you see it in a bigger picture, you get to know that this thing gets paid off with a much bigger amount when you see in a bigger picture. Like for example, if I see myself, uh, I get to connect with lots of big people on LinkedIn. People automatically connect with me who are interested in working for office. I get lots of opportunity through it, and there are numerous things that I got to know, got to uh, have being a Apache committer and PMC. It's kind of a recognition that you get uh, when you get such kind of stature in any of the organization. Okay, so how can you contribute? So first of all, you don't need to contribute through code only. You can do like planning events. For example, what we are doing, we are uh, propagating the words of open source world to the people. So like for example, in Apache Software Foundation, there is Apache ComDev, who is working for the development of to bring things up like that. There are events being done everywhere, every time, like Apache Con road shows out there. So you can involve with those events. uh, uh, if you like to design things, there are things like logo designing for any project, website designing, and more things like that. So you can involve with that. If you want to do you like to write, you can involve with the documentation team out there. You like to organize, you can get with the you can help a project with organizing the tickets out there. If you like to code, you can go with the coding. If you like to help people out there, people who are submitting patches or PRs out there, you can help them out by reviewing their code, or there are some forums for the users of any project. So you can help those users if you have knowledge about particular project. Then do you like helping others code? So like I said, you can review the patches, and you can help them with the knowledge you have with you. Okay, so okay, where can you start? So uh, I think
Aditya, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think there was an interesting question from Paul, which probably should we take the questions a bit later? Maybe you can decide based on your comfort.
yeah, there are questions.
Yeah, there are questions in the Zoom chat. I'll do one. Let's do one. Let's February. Once you feel that you want to, give some time for questions, we'll come back to it at that time. So I'll
Yeah.
not interrupt you. No, sorry for that.
Okay. Yeah, I will get them in the last itself. I
Yeah,
will
yeah, sure, sure. No
make
problem.
it
Please.
quicker.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you like, for example, if you want to where you can start with the open source project. So first of all, if you Google things out, like for example, I work with the big data technologies. I can just search for the projects out there in the open source world, uh, and I can get lots of them, and I can go to their first of all, their site is there. You can find their repository out there. For example, I'm taking an example of this view storefront. So for any of the project, even non-Apache project, uh, if you want to make a contribution, first you have to go through a code of conduct and the contribution guidelines there. First, you need to understand them. Second thing is to go through their README file or the documentation they have. Many of the projects have their documentation on Confluence. Some of them maintain using Markdown or ASCII docs. So you can go through those documentation first to understand what the project is actually all about. Like for example, the Spark, it is having on its website the contribution guidelines as well as documentation, and view storefront it is having on the GitHub page. Similar patterns you will get for most of the projects. Other than that, uh, if you are someone who wants to know like the issues that you want to fix, so there are utility websites that are created by people out there. So like this is the one, goodfirstissues.dev. Here you can just filter out based upon the technology you want to work, and the repositories, the issues are being uh, labeled as the good first issues. So I can just get with the issue, the technology that I want. I go to the uh, repository, and I can start working on the things that I feel interested with. Okay, so this was all how you can get started with. Now let's get to okay, the open source opportunities that if you are a student, lots of internships are available, right? Uh, with the current scenario, like there is Google Summer of Code, Outreachy, where not only you got to work with the open source projects, you get a really good stipend for that. I think for Google Summer of Code, it's $2,000, I guess. Other than that, there is Google Season of Docs. If you're interested with the technical documentation, open source immersion is there by Facebook. And other than that, you also get to know about there are various jobs available where there are various organizations who work for the open source world itself. So these are the I can this is also a GitHub utility created by someone, which lists all the organization that work for the open source project, and they specifically hire people who contribute to their projects and making a great contribution. Other than that, nowadays, if you search on LinkedIn also for the open source keyword in job, you may get, like, there are positions for the open source lead. You can imagine companies are really serious about how people are aware with the open source. Okay, now let's talk about the Apache Software Foundation. It is one of the world's largest open source foundation. It was established in 1999 as a charitable organization, and there are more than 350 projects under the umbrella of Apache Software Foundation. Okay, how it started? It started with Apache HTTP web server. That is one of the most widely used server till today. And how it started? There were a bunch of enthusiasts who started working on this web server, and what they were doing is they were sharing the patches through the email, and they really loved it. Like they were able to get some of the releases with that, and as they were getting it through patches, they called it a patchy server. Okay, so this was something that started in February 1995, and further they incorporated it as a foundation in June 99, and where they called it Apache Software Foundation. Okay, now let's see what a Apache project ecosystem looks like. So first of all, the core of any of the Apache project is the community. Okay, now this community consists of users, contributors, committers, and PMC members. Users, if you are using any of the Apache project, you are a user of that project. Okay, so this is not something official designation, but we call them a user. Okay, then the contributors. Contributors are the people, like for example, you are using Apache Tomcat, and while reading its documentation, you found a flaw in that, and you went there, you followed the process out there, and you fix that. So you become a contributor. So anyone who makes contribution to the project in any ways, he's a contributor. He or she is a contributor. Now, the committer and the PMC member, these are the roles that comes into picture from the Apache Software Foundation. Now, committer is someone who has the access of the code out there. He's the person who is able to push the changes done by others into the project, or he can commit by himself. And the PMC members are the people who are reporting to the Apache Software Foundation and who are taking care of the project. They are the people who are inducting committers, new PMC members who vote on the releases. So they are the decision makers of any project. Other than that, you will for any of the Apache project, you will find these things common to them. First of all, there would be a website following the pattern like obis.apache.org. Similarly, you will for Apache Roller, you may have roller.apache.org. So there will be a website for most of the projects out there. Then there will be a documentation, maybe on Confluence or in the code itself in maybe Markdown or ASCII docs. Then there are some mailing lists. So most of the communication takes place on the in the projects is on the mailing list, because people are out there diverse in different geological places, and it's better to have a asynchronous communication. Now these mailing lists, to uh, get into these any of the mailing lists, you need to send a mail and subscribe to it. Like for example, for user mailing list, there will be user dash subscribe at the rate ofbiz.apache.org. Once you are subscribed with that, you get to get the mails that about the discussion that are happening out there. All these mailing lists are being archived, so you can go out there um, and check if some changes are done, why they are done, what are the discussions being done. I tell you, there is a lot to learn on this mailing list, the discussions that are in mailing list. So, like for example, we were earlier having documentation in Markdown and Confluence diverse. So, people discussed out there. They come up with the ASCII docs where you, which provides a functionality to generate HTML, PDF, and various other formats. So, such kind of discussions are really fruitful in getting more from. Uh, Okay. Other than that, you have the demo instances being there, where you can check out the what how the project is. And there is the Jira tracker. Many of the projects use Jira, which is a product from Atlassian, and some of the project also use GitHub issues itself. So this is the ecosystem of any of the Apache project. And like for example, I told you that whatever artifacts are there, it's out there. So if I search like on this archives, if I search about myself, I can see like I've been part of this much of the conversations out there, this much of coding work I did, and even I can share reference of any of the work that I did and I feel really proud of. Okay, so this was how a Apache project looks like. Okay, so now let's talk about the Apache way. Now Apache way is basically a methodology, or I can say the processes or the governance model that is followed throughout the Apache projects to ensure a collaborative environment. Now these 350 projects are working out there in their own ecosystems, and the ASF has not that much of intervention into it. Their ecosystem is self-driven. So how it is done? So these are the core values that drive them. First is the community over code. It is there is a perception that it is always better to have a good community over a bad code rather a bad community over a good code, because if I give a good code to a bad community, they will spoil that thing. But if I give a good bad even a bad code to a good community, it will work on it and it will make it a better one. Okay. Other than that, uh, merits. Okay, if you are working for any of the project, irrespective of your background, you will be recognized for your work. I consistently worked for the Apache Office, and even I being a even not even being a just a senior developer, I was recognized as a uh, Apache Office committer because of my consistent commitment towards the project, not because uh, there were they do not consider what stature you belong to, what country you belong to, what organization you belong to. It's just your commitment towards the code. Communication. how we write. Most of the communication takes place on the mailing list. They are asynchronous, and so that more and more people are being involved in the process, because people are from different time zones. So it's better to have that on mailing list. Open development. Most of the code is open out there. So and uh, there is an involvement of everyone for uh, whatever changes are being done now. Okay, for a long-term success of any project, uh, it's not just about giving the number of releases. It's about what kind of how many people are involved. That determines the long-term success of any project. Okay, then decision making. So most of the decisions takes place on the public mailing list, uh, where it's the consensus that counts. People can vote on it, and if there is something they don't want, people do have vetoes for that also. So okay, that was Apache way. Now Apache Incubator. I think I felt that this is also a crucial thing that needs to be shared with you all. Now this is the gateway for any of the open source project to become a Apache project. So here the projects are it's kind of a curriculum to a project, where the Apache way is taught to a project. The processes that we follow at any of the projects. So first, uh, the project comes into the Apache Incubator, and once the project follows all the guidelines and all the processes followed by other projects, then it becomes a full-fledged top-level Apache project. Okay, and it takes usually 1 to 2 years for any project to get become a Apache project. Okay, so now Apache Incubator is a really great platform to explore. If you want to know, if you want to see how the great communities are built up, or you want to get involved with into any of the projects, there are projects out there under Apache Incubator, uh, where you can get involved and get to know how these communities are being built up. So currently there are around 47 projects out there. Okay, where to start if you want to start working for the Apache project. So this is projects.apache.org. So here there is a list of all the projects. So you can just filter them out based upon the programming language or the category. Like if you want to work on big data, these are the projects under uh, big data. For build management, these are the project. Cloud, these are the projects. So based upon your interest, you can work that way. If you are interested with any specific programming language, there is this filter out there. So you can work based upon that. Okay. So it's simple. You choose a project, and you can subscribe to a mailing list. You can find a ticket for yourself on Jira, and you can just start working on contributing to a project. So that was all.